Sunup on 7. We did jump up. My name is Renata Samuels-Card.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Kevin Mendes. Welcome to your Hump Day episode of Sunup on 7. Thank you so much for welcoming Renata and I into your space. Renata, Steven, what can they expect on this episode?
As it's a One-Tabulous Wednesday that brings in all things health and wealth. With that, we're going to be talking about breast cancer today, a very important conversation. So stay tuned. From the Blees Medical Associates, they're going to be having an expert dive into all the nitty-gritties. So I'm sure you want to hear that conversation. But what else do we have, Kevito?
What else do we have, Ren? Today we're going to be having a great conversation with the University of Belize, specifically their pharmacy department. Talk about how are they celebrating Pharmacy Week.
So all that and so much more. You know how this works. Put your comments in the comment section. Make it live, interactive, fun, church, and respectful, of course.
Of course.
Now we jump up to the couch.
You ready?
That's what we're looking for today. Just in time,
and he's here to talk to us
the
about
writing appears on the
show that we're on right now. Tell me.
and I were the first ones to see.
And we're going to be talking about the hot shush that has been
The
happening
world
with
that we see may
far.
seem that it'll never change. They say, but if you tear down the wall that's blinding us all, you'll see the way today. A place to call your home, a place where you can grow. Stand by me and we'll take flight. We'll be there at morning's light. I've got you covered on all concerns we share today. You'll discover how the world turns each day when the sun comes up.
Muy buenos dias, my beautiful Sunup on 7 family. Welcome to your Hump Day episode of September 17th. Once more, thank you so much for welcoming Renata and I into your space. If you're watching via Facebook, YouTube, or your cable TV, it's a pleasure being with you. We're going to bring you the weather later on during today's episode, so we're going to jump right into our couch talk. But before we get into our couch talk, let's do a check-in with our dear darling Ren. How are you doing today?
I am doing good. I'm excited.
Yeah.
It's my last day on the show until next week.
Okay.
Because I go out.
All right.
Remember I told you guys one of
I
my
know,
close friends is getting
I'm
married
just
this
teasing you.
Saturday,
I'm just being
guys.
dramatic. Like, all right. Okay.
You're being
okay.
shady.
All right.
So I'm super excited to go and spend a beautiful time with her in LA. So yeah, like she you know when you start seeing everything materialize, like she sent us the dress to see, and I did it and I want to cry. I'm like, oh my goodness, it's really happening. So I'm really excited to go and spend time with her. I'm gonna be hosting the reception.
Okay.
So that's gonna be a fun time. So yeah, excited to see my girl walk down the aisle and begin on that new beautiful union with her partner.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds like a lot of anticipation for this.
Yes, a lot of anticipation for this weekend. This is gonna be the second time I'm not in country for the 21st.
Okay.
I just realized that I'm like,
Blasphemous.
all right, Kevin, I'm gonna belt you with some rice. I mean, you need to stop.
Yes, please. I don't mind getting like...
Belt it right.
Yeah.
You'll open your mouth like this. Catch it. How are you feeling, Kevito?
I'm feeling pretty good. You know, like I've been like doing a lot of meditation lately, and also like focused on a lot of work. I'm really like proud of the work that I'm getting engaged on recently, and I think that's like the biggest reward is that you enjoy what you do and you see it, how it contributes to improving your country landscape. You know, there's so many things happening right now in Belize, you know, arguments about like Belize tax services. You know, we're seeing the Guatemalan dispute that's going on, all of these things. And so in despite of all of this that's going on, which is very important conversations that we should have, I think it's also important to not lose the vision and still continuing to make a change that you want to see within your space, right? Everybody's asking,
definitely.
you know, what can we do? What can we do? But I think it's important for you to take a moment, see what you can do within your space to make this Belize a better place, you know?
Definitely.
And it really, yeah, so that's where I am,
I love
enjoying
that.
my contributions and what I'm doing in space.
And making your connections, I think it's so important that like in your spaces, in your family, friends, circles, and so forth, you pour out love, you remind people how much it's important to take care of themselves. Because when you have healthy people, when you have healthy citizens, they can do more in the country, they can be more for the country, they can think of other ideas. And I always tell people that you don't necessarily need to be in a political office to be able to make change. I know that's a lot of people feel like there's more power there, but I've seen so much amazing NGOs do incredible things too as well. These youth groups go out and really help and stir up a change and make a movement too. So it's like, it's possible whatever space you are. I don't think you're ever too small, you're not doing enough or so forth. Like from your small space, there is magnitudes of wonders that you can be able to ripple into Belize. So I think that's a good perspective to look at. When you think about 21st and think about independence, celebration and everything, what are you doing? And what could you be doing too as well? Challenge yourself to say, I know there's a lot going on, but what can I also bring to the table as well?
Definitely. You know, like I've always said, like, it's whenever you're in government, for instance, so you have a level of power to be able to make changes within the system, but also it's important to realize that you can also level and influence change from the outside in. So I had like a great conversation the other day with a minister where, you know, like kind of they come with the notion of like hierarchy. And I am like, no, this is not how I view things, right? You are here and you're doing your piece of the pie where you're able to influence change based on the power that you have. But similarly, like I come with skills, values, and expertise from community, which is equally important to the contribution of making a change.
You can't have it two without
rather
the
than
other.
seeing it like this, I'm like, we're on the same playing field. We need each other for us to be able to make a change. And I think that's a very important way how I navigate things, you know? There's no hierarchy here.
No.
I acknowledge your position of authority and power. Nevertheless, you know, we can still contribute to make a change together.
And it shows how much you value yourself and what you bring to the table. And I think that's really important for people in general. When you enter a job space, when you enter anything at all, you have to know what you bring to the table and know when it's time to walk away with that too as well, that you're not being valued enough. So, I mean, this could go into a whole TED Talk, but I'm just saying, like, it's really important that we evaluate ourselves. What are we bringing? And if we're not bringing enough and we're not doing enough, how can we be at that level to do that too as well? So I think it's all important conversations to have. I mean, people want to jump up and have a great time for September, but also like reflect. What are you doing? Like you love this country so much, but like how have you really contributed to this growth? How have you really helped somebody? And even if it's one person that is doing magnitudes and wonders there, because it trickles into our next person too as well. But I think that's an important conversation we should have with our children, we should have with each other, to stir it up of what celebration of September really is.
Yeah. But folks, let us know where you're watching from, how you're feeling today, what you're celebrating. Of course, we would love to give you your shout out at your flowers today. So
and all kind of stuff.
yeah, let us know
We'll
through
get
the
to that
comments if
later.
you're watching via Facebook Live. At this point, we move on into our couch talk.
Yes.
And so
Our
the first
topic.
conversation that we talk about is that Andrew Munnings is back at home after
Praise
being
God.
for 24 hours incarcerated at the Colby Foundation. And so basically what led to him being back at home is that there was a settlement at court, and his lead attorney, O.J. Ellington, they were able to argue on his case. Basically, they settled for $2,000, which he was able to, again, pay and go back home. But it did not go so easy at court, because when they reached the court to be able to make the settlement, there was one thing saying, yes, we'll accept the $2,000 that you had committed to. And then they came back, the Belize Tax Services came back and saying, no, we would like 25 to 50% of what you owe. And then they're like, but what? This is not what you agreed on. So they had to go make a phone call. And then they come back and say, yes, we will take the $2,000. So that's one thing. So it's good that they were able to make that
some kind of settlement.
That settlement for sure. But in hearing just how Andrew is feeling about his whole morale, you know, for the fact that he was shaved, and I think that's a big statement, without being properly processed at Colby Foundation, really was like, once you hit Colby Foundation, like all your rights seems to be stripped.
It just stripped off. It's like, okay, are you deemed a criminal or something that you could just like, I could just take advantage? Do I just forget that, you know, I have rights in any kind of way, shape, or form? And that's a scary thing to think about too as well. What I really appreciate, because Andrew did do a live at 8:30 last night too as well, and I was fortunate enough to hear some of what he was saying. And of course, he gave a lot of thanks and love in the interview that he did with us, as well as last night, about the love that was poured into his family, of helping him to be free, of helping him to, you know, be able to get some money together. And, you know, all the people that came to his aid, that saw a young black man, an entrepreneur that has been doing so much in the community, and just feeling that he's being treated unfairly. This is, how did it get to this point too as well? You know, he did the thanks and everything. And I think what's also important from the Colby situation is him, you know, talking about how the prisoners were so loving to him too as well. And I think that really warmed my heart, because I think we often forget about the human in a prisoner, in somebody that is behind bars, that has their whole life been shifted and changed, of course, because of whatever they've been convicted for, but understanding that this human being now, you know, does have love and kindness to give. And that's exactly what Andrew was talking about. He said, like, they literally give him a shirt. They give our slippers because they say, how his slippers me what up, no post back foot. Like, literally giving him these things with no kind of like, I need to get something back, or give me a little money for this or so forth. Like, literally just with love and kindness giving back to him too as well, telling him he doesn't belong here, what's happening too. So I feel like that was just something I wanted to point out too, for just how we dehumanize sometimes prisoners, and you know, the love that they can be able to provide in these areas too as
And
well.
if you want to humanize persons that are at Colby Foundation, the recommended word would be residents of the Colby Foundation, rather than prisoners or incarcerated persons.
Yeah.
You know, so residents is a good way of saying, hey, these are people that are hosted at the Colby Foundation. But definitely, this story with Andrew Munnings sparked so many angles of the conversation, as in regards to the tax service, you know, the way how people are taxed, the fact that everybody's able to meet this end of paying taxes, how people are educated about how you go about paying taxes, how do you structure your business. So it really sparks so many things about, you know, the Belize tax service. And on an interview yesterday with the Director General of the Belize Tax Service, she shed some light as to, like, why did it get to this point? You know, she said, ideally, we would not like to get to this point. Nevertheless, it was very important for conversations. So she said between the 2020, when the business was opened, to 2023, there was no registration of the business, there was no tax payment taken on behalf of Andrew Munnings' funeral home. And so, like, when he registered, then they were able to, like, start backlogging what he owed and all of these things. And they said, like, okay, they made a settlement on how this payment is going to go take place. He started paying the agreed amount. Then he started failing on his payments. Also, she advised that if anybody has such a business, then it's important for your business to properly structured, in particularly how he operates his business, and saying, you're a funeral home. Nevertheless, we are aware, based on what you share with us, that you're not the one that stays with all this money that you're making. You have subcontractors. So it's like, how do you structure your business to ensure that it's properly reflected that this is the amount that you're collecting and this is the amount that you're sharing among the people that are working along with you. So she said, if we had known this better, then we could have structured it better to know what we're going to be able to tax you, which was, like, I think, a very important nugget of information to share with the public of how you go about structuring your business.
And I understand that too as well, but there's a part of me is like, and I know a lot of people in the comments were saying, like, it doesn't seem as clear-cut as she was talking about, the way of how they were working with Andrew for so long, because I don't think, and Andrew is a very vocal person, I don't think that in all of the mess of everything that took place, that there was never him saying, this is a structure, this is what's happening, you know, let's agree upon this or whatever it is. Like, I feel like there's things that are being left out, and it's being quoted and painted in a prettier way than it really is to us well. Because a lot of people in the comments were talking about, we talk with tax services, we explain situations, and they do their own thing too as well. So I really want to reflect on what other people's personal experiences were and what could be Andrew's one as well, because he didn't go into too much details. He did mention in the live as well that all that was, you know, saying, and so that was not necessarily the case of how they were so gentle with this whole situation and how things ran down. So I'm saying, again, you have one side that's painting this perfect picture that we talked to you, it went to this, we didn't want to get to this point or so forth, but another side saying, Not necessarily. It's not like how you're making it to seem that we're seeing kumbaya, we're having such a beautiful time. And I think that's really also important to note when it comes to this. And there's a lot of distrust in the Blaze Tax Services as it is for so much people, again, commenting and saying horrible experiences that they've had when it comes to business owners and being able to work with them, because there are some business owners that spoke about, you know, just not being able to have a good conversation, them wanting again to make their own assessment. And I know a lot of people were talking about the assessment. That's what's really important about this whole case and how everything is going down, because they're saying they didn't have the information about fully how things operated, and it wasn't as transparent to see, you know, how he was doing subcontractors and all of that. But at the same time, if you're assessing this business from 2023 to 2025 and so forth, was there not a proper conversation to help this business owner get into
Apparently they did.
And they said it, and then
they were
how can
communicating
somebody
with the
not
accountant,
get to
and
that
then
at that
there
point?
was the accountant went. There was like miscommunication or lack of communication. But again, it's unfortunate that it ended up in this situation. Once more, we can report that Andrew Munnings is back at home, and it did rile up like a lot of like social support for people to come to his aid. There was a lot of posts saying free Andrew Munnings. But definitely, again, it talks about how do we navigate the tax services in the country. You know, what does this call in terms of like reform of taxes, this restructuring of taxes. What we do have as an update to share also is that this case of Andrew Munnings, so the court case was taken by O.J. Erlington. Nevertheless, he's also being supported by Courtney Koyi. So they uploaded a file against the government of Belize for Munnings, and it appears that they're going to be saying that the Belize Tax Services acted in ultra vires, and that they're also going to be seeking vindicatory damages against the Belize Tax Services.
And I remember they had put out something about just, again, the assessment and how things were getting done. And if you're thinking about ultra vires, I keep forgetting how to say that. That just basically means that it was very unlawful in the way things were taking place. Obviously, they feel like they have a good case here. We're going to see it unfold and everything. But I do take this as a lesson for other business owners and for persons to really stand up, to be very knowledgeable. I know Andrew talked about, you know, when he first started his business, he had no idea of like what he was doing and how he was starting. There's a better place now where people can get support to understand, like, you know, the makeup of a business, how to structure it properly too as well. Because you're thinking about 2020, which is like the world of COVID and things, people trying to like make things happen for themselves.
Yeah.
So you do also understand the discrepancy or the lack thereof knowledge of like being able to properly have everything together. So I understand that. And he did make mention that he did go to them at one point in time, and they said that no, that he didn't need to do any taxes and so forth. So again, a lot of different things coming up from this story. Whether you're on the side of tax or you're on the side of Andrew or whatever it is, I do again remind you to be as abreast as you can be when it comes to what you can pay, understanding to file your taxes too as well, make proper coordination with them when it comes to payments, if you are falling back on payments and so forth, because we can clearly see right now that it can get to a point where you just get locked up, and we don't want it ever to get to that point for any person too as well.
Right.
But definitely we're going to keep you informed with the story, and we're glad to see that Andrew is back, and we're hoping to see that things are sorted out the way it's supposed to be sorted. We do also note that, like you said, now at this present point, based on the settlement, that he will not be paying, from my understanding, any of the exorbitant fees and these things that were put on it. That is one of the things that came out too as well from the courts, but we don't know exactly from the 185K how much less of that it will be too as well. So again, a lot of things coming out from this case. Will keep you informed as it goes along.
All right, let's move on to our next Couch Talk topic. So we have to share this devastating news that yesterday on a house fire here in Belize City, a 4-year-old lost her life. It's a very conflicting story, because how the incident goes is that early in the morning, around 4 a.m., somebody reported that this house was on fire.
Neighbors,
Then the mother was sleeping with her infant next to her. In the rush of the moment to save her house and her belongings, she rushed out trying to wake up her relative. And by the time she came back, she was unable to access her child, and the house was engulfed in flames. The child perished.
You know.
So I'm making it as less dramatic and scenic as I can.
Yeah, of course,
because it's
thank
a
you.
heavy news.
It's a heavy news story. It's a
So we
really
extend
hard
our
news
condolences
story.
to the family who've lost their relative in this incident. The father had a lot to share about how much he used his daughter as a motivation, and also they're asking the public if there's any way how you can be able to support the family to come back with their belongings and also to move ahead from the situation. To please go ahead and do so.
Definitely. I think it's a super hard situation. And I give condolences to the family completely and everybody that knew and loved this little baby girl. I can't imagine, you know, the pain and devastation that the father is going through because, of course, he wasn't around. He was out working. And again, like you mentioned before, his daughter was motivation to be working too as well. And his daughter was his everything pushing for him too as well. I do also understand that his partner sustained some serious burn injuries because realizing that the baby girl was not with him, with her, she tried to go in and try to save her, and unfortunately could not be able to get in and sustain some serious heavy degree burns. But again, our heart goes out to the family, and if you can offer some love, condolences, and support too as well as they kind of try to rebuild back all of it with all that they've lost, more than just physically, but their daughter too as well. This is a hard situation to have to go through too as well.
Move on to our next Couch Talk topic. And Chris Koyi is leaving the office at the end of the month. So Chris Koyi was one of the last ministers of state to get to sign his oath into office, as we can note. And after 6 months of being in office, he is...
I'd hit the road, Jack.
Yeah, he's hitting the road. Reached to him yesterday to be able to confirm if
Jules
this
sent
is
a
true.
message to him too as
He
well.
did not confirm. Nevertheless, he said, "I am extremely grateful to our Prime Minister for enabling me to meaningfully participate with him and the cabinet in directing our beloved country along a newly forged path for economic transformation. It has been a true honor and a privilege to serve Prime Minister and the people of Belize." So that's what he had to say. But speculations are that he's going to be leaving at the end of the month.
Yeah, there's speculations that are happening. Again, this not come as no kind of shock to me. Because in the beginning, we talked about how he had made mention that he didn't necessarily want to go back into office, that he wanted to go back to private practice, just as how former Minister Eamon Courtney did too as well, and be able to like dedicate his time and efforts to that. Like you mentioned before, he was the last minute to get sworn in, and I feel like that does say a toll, because we remember having to ask, I think, Prime Minister, if I'm not mistaken, if there was any kind of coax, and he had to kind of like be persuaded to go back into office, because the Prime Minister felt like he was very, he had a lot to offer. He had a substantial amount of knowledge to be able to offer to office too as well. And we see now that it's possible that he might be leaving at the ending of the month, but again, it doesn't come as any big news to us, but we'll see exactly how, you know, if there is any kind of pivot and that he does stay. If not, like he mentioned, he had a privilege of serving and he gets to go.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be seeing later on if there was an ulterior motive, but definitely wish him all the best in his future ventures for Mr.
Some people that ask that, why is he leaving? But no, guys, I do remember in the beginning, he did not even want to go into office in the first place. So that's why I feel like a little bit less fishy. Maybe someone saying he smelled a rat, right? And then he was like, I'm going to head out because things are hitting the fan right now. Maybe that's the case, but maybe he's just like, you know what, I want to go with the private practice, which is much more lucrative than being in office.
Exactly. I'm like, whatever his reasons, right? I'm not going to get in there.
We're not going to get into
We're not going to get in there, folks. But we move on to our next Couch Talk topic, and this is something that we want to get into. Because 2 days ago, Yashe reported that the Columbia River Forest Reserve is currently getting violated and raped by Guatemalan farmers.
It was
basically on a survey that they did on the area, they realized that there was a long stretch of road already in Columbia River Forest Reserve with multiple bridges, with land getting used for agriculture and also land getting used for illegal logging.
There was a security
so
gap.
the Prime Minister yesterday was asked about his thoughts about the situation happening at Columbia Forest River Reserve. And the first thing that he started with...
My Levi say that if them didn't do their job right, this not happen.
Yashe was doing their job right.
He said that they're not doing their job right. And I was just like,
yeah.
Sir, sir, it's literally like I take no accountability.
Yeah.
I say, you know what? How you to complain for? You supposed to be fixed it a long time. That you are the problem. That you are the issue. And I was just like,
Yeah, he did say, Yashe, if they had been out there looking at the area they're responsible for, that would have never happened. So we need to start with that. That was a very powerful way to start the conversation as regards to the situation that's happening at
Wow,
Colombia, for Columbia River
I had to
Forest
drink
Reserve.
some water on that one.
Definitely, Yashe has shared that they do have a mandate of supporting and protecting this area. Nevertheless, they travel with the challenges as regards to manpower and resources to be able to monitor this area. They talked about how extensive this area is, and for you to be able to reach to the point where all this violations is happening, you need about 7 to 8 days for you to get to this location. So definitely, it's not an easy task to do. And they've, in multiple situations, they've asked the government for support in being able to have proper human resources out there to be able to ensure that the well-being of the rangers and the caretakers is there, because they shared on the article, on the news article, that they even hear gunshots whenever they're approaching and all of these things, right? So
Like, is it a warning?
it's a very like hazardous job to be doing, but definitely requires more manpower. So the government, they also, the Prime Minister shared that they are aware of the situation. The OAS is aware of the situation. He talked about the adjacency zone, which is 1 kilometer on each side. And if Guatemalans were to come into our adjacency zone, then Belize has the authority to remove them without even contacting the OAS. But if they're within this adjacency zone, then they cannot do nothing until the OAS is informed, and then due protocol has to take place for how they're going to address the situation. But going back to the first statement.
I just, you know, trying to find the nice words.
You
Okay.
can do it.
I'm trying to find the nice words.
Yeah, but definitely, I think while you find those words, I think it's important to mention that NGOs and government is a collaboration, right? It's not something that says you are responsible for this area, so you go ahead and you do it. Definitely
Because we have limited resources.
Yeah.
Everybody understands. I'm sure if you worked with an NGO, you're in an NGO, in any way, shape, or form, you understand the limited resources that you have to disperse. I'm not saying the government has an endless amount of resources, but I do say that, like you mentioned, it's a collaborative effort. So for you to be able to blatantly say, as the first statement to begin the entire answer, would be that if they were doing their job, I feel like that is a slap in the face to NGOs, to anybody that deals with advocacy, that's trying their best with the limited resources to get things to be done. Because you also have to think about them reaching out and asking, hey, for the support in there. Like you mentioned, I'm glad that you mentioned how it takes about 7 to 8 days to be able to get to these sites. You're thinking about being able to even just pull up and get there, what you can be able to face with your limited amount of persons. We're not even talking yet about the actual material resources that you need to get to places, you know. We're talking about how much men can you send out? How much people can you send out to be able to assess the situation? There's a lot that takes place in this, and I felt like it was a little bit inconsiderate to look and be able to just point fingers without approaching it and say, man, it's unfortunate the situation got to this point. I feel like we need to, as a government, do a better job at collaborating with these NGOs to see how we can deal with these situations, because of course they are seeing what's happening a little bit better for us, and we can be able to provide more resources. That was a better way to answer the question, as compared to just like, if you want to do your job better, I'm like, sir, maybe if you, let me talk about how only to do a job. Let me not stop on that.
See, we're not going to go there.
We're not going to go there.
Yeah, we're not
going to go there.
No.
We're not.
Yeah, but definitely, you know, this calls for strengthening the collaboration between Yashe and the government of Belize, especially in providing, you know, the necessary resources to be able to properly monitor this area and see how they go about addressing the illegal incursions by the Guatemalans into Belizean territory. And also, it's interesting to see how they operate along with the OAS to be able to reach to some sort of solution to the situation. But definitely this leads into our next Couch Talk topic, where the Guatemalan Ministry of Foreign Affairs has responded to the situation that took place in the Sarstoon on September 10th and also on September 13th, where on multiple videos we've seen where there was quite tension taking place within the Sarstoon as regards to the Belize territorial volunteers doing their annual trip to the Sarstoon Island to set the Belizean flag again, to celebrate and mark our sovereignty as a country. In a statement that came from the Guatemalan Ministry of Foreign Affairs, it was gaslighting at its best, if we can say this.
Oh my
You know, it was gaslighting in so many levels. The Guatemalan press says that the Belize Defense Force entered national territory via Sarum River without authorization in violation of Guatemala's territorial integrity.
Like, they flipped the whole switch.
Yeah.
On the entire situation, making it seem that we were aggravated. Like, that was the thing that was crazy. Like, they talk about our Belize Defense Force aggravating the Guatemala Armed Forces. And I
Yeah.
was just like, honey, do we not have video footage, honey?
Exactly. And on the video footage, you can see that that was not the situation that took
That
place.
we were calmly, like, we even have a footage where, and I think Jules had showed it too as well on Monday Morning Beef, where one of our Belize Defense Force had the actual treaty just explaining and reading it out to them calmly in Spanish so that they can understand, no, this is our era and everything.
Yeah, so in the statement, they also say that the Guatemalan armed forces had to defend its territorial sovereignty and ensure that the confrontation did not escalate. It says the provocations by the Belize Defense Force were contained through dialogue without resorting to the use of force, which again, we did not see the Belizean Defense Force in no way being aggressive. As a matter of fact,
We
I
never
think we
slammed
were
nobody
the
boat.
most.
We never slammed anybody boat, boo.
We did not block.
Or maybe,
any-
you know what, I can't say good, my eye crossed. So maybe
No,
like
you
the
need better
boat
glasses,
switch.
maybe.
Babe, I need better glasses. The prescription is not working because obviously I never say they made a try slam our boat.
Yeah.
I never said that.
Yeah, but the next
mean-
thing is like it just gets more into this press release from the Guatemalan Foreign Affairs.
Tell us more, baby.
Because it says that the Guatemalan government regrets that Belize has resorted to exaggerating the situation in international media, an attitude that reflects an intention to destabilize and unnecessarily magnify the incidents. Guatemala calls on the government of Belize to refrain from such unnecessary confrontational incursions. Guatemala categorically denies that there exists or could even exist an agreed upon this joint Sarum protocol and mechanism. So that's a couple things to like digest there, because we've seen recently that based on what Belize, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has put about this situation, that we've gotten the support from both CARICOM and the Commonwealth,
yes.
you know, sitting next to Belize and saying, Belize, we see the situation, and they're calling out the government of Guatemala for doing these illegal incursions. They're very much aware of what the treaties say as in regards to what is Belizean territory and what is Guatemalan territory, and who obviously is in the wrong.
Who obviously
Yeah.
is coming into whose
Yeah.
territory, who's
Yeah.
obviously aggravating. And there's video footage, and I'm glad that we have video footage to be able to cross-reference. I also want to look at the aspect of them saying we exaggerated, baby boo. You know what I feel like? I feel like we need to exaggerate all the diplomatic notes that we've said before about the same situation happening different times too as well. Because obviously those weren't read.
Yeah.
You know what also I think is good to pinpoint on this, Kev? Because we had initially had a conversation about the fact that this is more of like maybe the Guatemalan armed forces, it's the military, it's not necessarily the entire government. We talked about maybe there's a disconnect happening. Remember we had that
we
conversation?
talked about that, yeah, but
where is a possible disconnect, because we saw when there was the Guatemalan president, the Mexican president, and Prime Minister John Bracena all together, kumbaya, you know, everything too as well, talking about Tren Maya and everything. And so we're like, oh, you know, it's probably just a disconnect with the Guatemalan and the military specifically, especially when they posted that whole mapping with Belize a part of it. So we're like, there's a disconnect. But when you see a gaslighting, completely wrong press statement of this magnitude too as well, it really starts to drive the question, is there a disconnect, or is this spot on to what is actually thought of by the entire country? And it's like, is it truly coming to light to us all, but things were not said as evidently before? Because now there's a lot more questions posing in my mind for you to say that there's video footage and you're saying no, it's Belize, and then it's also Guatemalan territory. There's so much things to think and digest from this too as
I mean,
well.
if we can also think about, you know, the response from the Guatemalan Ministry of Foreign Affairs in regards to this situation is the political leverage that Belize has. And I think it's very important for us to highlight this, because CARICOM has a membership of 19 countries and the Commonwealth has a membership of 56 countries.
Yeah.
And so in a consortium of all of these countries, they've said, Belize, we see you.
We hear you out. We're seeing
and
the
we stand by your
situation.
side. we're very much aware of what the legalities behind this is, right? So as a comparison to Guatemala, yes, they have the armed forces and they are more militarized and they may have the U.S. support, but there's also Belize coming with its political clout, right? We're saying we have the backing of more than 60 countries.
But Baby Boo, remember, even in the press statement, they talked about why we're getting third world countries involved.
Yeah.
And that was, I think, was really crazy in
It was
its
a
sense.
very narcissistic.
Because again, remember, guys, the CARICOM statement came out as well as the Commonwealth statement just came out to us. Well, came out to us as well. And so, in that same press statement from the Guatemala Foreign Affairs, they talked about why get the third world countries involved in this situation. It's not necessary, blah blah blah, etc. And I'm like, oh, so you vexed because people are coming to our rescue, or people are seeing what you're doing? You upset?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It gives me narcissistic vibes like Israel for sure.
It's giving like, oh, like you're not supposed to get help. You're not supposed to have somebody stand up for you because it's supposed to be staying in our silos. Like we're supposed to do what we want to do.
And we're supposed to bully you
supposed
as
to
much
just
as
take
you
it.
want and just
You're
take
supposed
it.
to take it. Your big brother or your cousin can't help. That's not supposed to happen. Stay with you there. Why you to bring family in? Why you to bring family? We don't want your auntie wrong, yeah? Tell she and her potato salad stay over. So it's like, it's giving that kind of vibe of like,
It definitely is.
not getting them
Definitely is.
involved.
Yeah. So, and the story does not end there because the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Belize responded to what the Guatemala Ministry of Foreign Affairs shared. And they basically had a whole, I'm trying to find the article here, where they went against what the Guatemalan government said as in regards to what they put in their press statement.
I just want to make a comment while you're finding it,
Yeah.
Kev. Zave Molina is saying something really important. She's like, and coming from the official office like that, the Guatemalan citizens and military will feel even more emboldened and confident that they can take advantage of Belize when you have a statement like this that causes more gaslighting and paints a different image. And exactly the case too as well, where you're giving a sense of, I don't know if it's justification or just giving a sense of like, no, we're not doing anything wrong, if that's the kind of thing.
Yeah, and you can sense where this attitude that is getting promoted by the Guatemalan government emboldens these persons that we're seeing, violating Belizean territory by coming in, opening these roads, opening land for agriculture, illegal logging, because they feel that they're entitled to this area based on all this notion that we're hearing that Belize is a Guatemalan department, right? So you can see where that contributes to it, and definitely it's a matter that be addressed. So the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Belize, in their press statement yesterday, they said, rejects the bold attempt of the government of Guatemala to present alternative facts in order to seek to distort the narrative of what transpired at the Sarstoon. Belize does not doubt its sovereignty over its side of the Sarstoon. The unalterable fact is that the boundary between Belize and Guatemala was established in the 1859 treaty as the mid-channel of the Sarstoon River. The Sarstoon Island lies squarely within Belize's sovereign territory. Furthermore, the 1859 treaty provides that the channels of the river are equally free and open to the vessels of both countries. It says the tensions of the past week underscore the urgency of mechanisms for cooperation in the Sarstoon and maritime spaces. Finalizing such a mechanism would be a clear demonstration of the commitment of the two countries to peacefully and security in the area. So, wow, quite a battle of press statements between both countries.
But I'm really glad that they brought out the press statement to as well, because they already did that real subtle way of saying, please understand your country, when they did the whole Happy Independence Day and did the flag to us. And I know we joked about it, but I think it was a great nudge from them, just letting you understand.
Nudge from who?
From Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
From Belize?
Yes, Belize.
Okay.
When we did, remember when we did the flag and other countries got the flag, but we did the outlining of the map for Guatemala. So I think for me, as much as we were joking about it, I think that was a good nudge, a subtle way of saying, please understand where your territory, there where the borders, that
was a good shade.
Catch yourself, right? It's a good shade. We under the shade we flourish. And then I'm glad to see them, they're able to put out this press statement to like, hey, no, we don't take that press statement lightly too as well. And get you back to the treaty, baby boo. Let me get you back to the treaty. So I think it's really important to have them put out these things. And of course, I know like before they have been writing the diplomatic notes. I think even more so, this is a push to see what's going to be happening when the ICJ ruling comes. And of course, how does that come to as well? I think what's significant to understand is that seeing that CARICOM and Commonwealth have been able to put up press statements that whatever, because I know, in support of Belize, that does for me gives us a little comforting, settling feeling that, you know what, we have other countries. Because if you're thinking about how much countries combine with Commonwealth and CARICOM together, it's like about 70 something or something like that, right? Because you're thinking about 56 and 19. So you're just thinking that you have all these countries in a supportive manner, seeing the situation as it is, seeing the videos and seeing everything that's happening. So it does have a better light for people. So we're gonna keep you guys updated.
Definitely. My last comment here is that it's really good to see an official statement coming from the Guatemalan government. Because we've often talked, you mentioned, could there be a disconnect between the president and the military and all of these things? But now you're showing, okay, this is really how we feel. So that allows us to have a better notion of who we're dealing with, right? And how do we go about navigating the situation?
And then they're reading their treaty.
Yeah. so that's my thing. Now we know better who's our adversary in this situation. But definitely we want to say thank you to the CARICOM and the Commonwealth nations for coming in support to Belize as we go ahead with navigating this territorial dispute between Guatemala and Belize.
Our comments from our viewers sometimes could really sweet me. I love you guys really dearly, man. I don't really know how to make things happen. But again, we've come to the ending of the couch talk. What I will want to say for our viewers is super, super important, especially for our younger viewers, when you're having these conversations, to find as much history as you can. You know, really make sure you stand firm in promoting, you know, your country, of what it stands for, understanding the borders, understanding the issues too as well, because that's going to be our power. That's going to be our voice that can be able to be echoed too as well. So definitely something to think about and to look at. We do have a sunrise. We also have birthday shout-outs too as well. 2 birthday shout-outs and 2 big ups to make for this morning. So it's gonna be a morning. It's gonna be a morning. But yes, I guess I'm gonna do the big ups first as they get the pictures together. Oh, we have the birthday shout already. And Zave was in the chat. I actually read her comment. Happy blessed birthday, Zave, from your mom, your dad, and JJ, and from, of course, Channel 7, Sunup on 7 here. We're giving you all the love and flowers as you celebrate a new chapter. May all of the work that you put in, the incredible work, because I know you've mentioned some of the incredible work that she's done too as well. And may it all come true, and may you continue to be a trailblazer where you are. So happy blessed birthday, Zave, and thank you so much for staying in tune with Sunup on 7. We truly appreciate you in every way, shape, or form. Okay, and then we have our next birthday shout out.
Let's do it.
Let's get it on. There's a lot of September babies. I love it. And this is from this darling queen, Miss Kiki. I'm giving you a happy, blessed, screaming happy birthday to you. May this new chapter be filled with a lot of peace, of happiness, of joy, and everything under the sun. May you be able to continue to strive and be the best version of yourself possible.
All right.
I'll be choking along the way.
Dale, it's the birthday greetings queen.
I know, I'm trying to get it all out.
I'm just thinking about September babies and all these babies getting made.
Excuse me, what? I know.
Getting made on Christmas, you know?
Be made on New Year's too as well.
There you go.
Bringing a new year and a new baby. They're having, all these Christmas parties were fun, guys. Let's just remember these Christmas parties were fun. Wee! I'm choking even. I'm choking even. But I do want to give a next big up. I don't have a picture or anything for her. But a 2-year-old baby that loves to watch Sunup on 7, loves to see us dance and everything. Annie from Big Falls, Toledo. I just want to give her a screaming not happy blessed birthday. Well, thank you so much for watching the show. I know that your grandma and your big sister and your family in general just watches the show. So, Annie, if you're seeing this now, you're seeing the rerun, thank you so much for enjoying the dance. Thank you so much for connecting with us too as well. We truly love and appreciate you in every way, shape, or form. And to your big sister and grandmother and mom too as well that reached out. Truly, truly, it's a humbling and beautiful feeling to know that you at 2 years old can connect with us here at Channel 7. So, yes, big up yourself, Annie, from Big Falls, Toledo. And then,
Yeah, we do have one more birthday shout out to do, and
Oh, we have
this
an extra.
is for Solon Andrews in Santa Elena. This comes on behalf of John August.
Solon Andrews, happy blessed birthday to you. May it be a beautiful new chapter filled with happiness and love and peace and joy. And all the goodness in the world for you as you navigate a new chapter here. And of course, we have one more shout out to as well.
do it, Ren.
From a cute next baby. I love these little kids. They're so adorable.
Yeah, we love that
There's
we're
this little
connecting with so
baby.
much generation.
Right? That's what I'm saying. Like, talk with us. We love this. We are here for it. So giving a big, big love and celebration for you, Rhea, that loves to watch Channel 7 and says that that's the only show that she watches and the only news that she watches to us all, because she believes that we give the real news, we give the real details, the real facts, the raw stuff too as well. So
You know
big
what's
up to
up.
yourself, Rhea. We thank you so much for it. Like, to the point where sis was upset when they changed the channel. She'd cry. And like that show was like, don't mess with my people. Put on Channel 7. Put it on, Daddy. Don't play with me. So thank you so much. Oh, there it is.
Huh? And what is Channel 5? The fake news? And which one is the real news?
Channel 7.
Channel
my
7
God.
is the real news? And you don't want to watch this one?
Ooh, okay.
It's coming from Rhea. I'm
Coming
not
from
saying
Rhea, yeah.
anything. I'm just saying she's a smart baby. I'm just saying she's a
If
smart
the baby's
baby.
saying that, yeah.
If the babies say, and you know, babies, they don't tell lies. Babies don't tell lies. They're very honest. Grandmas, like elderly and babies, they're the ones that tell the truth all the time. Can't trust other people. But thank you so much for that. And with that, guys, we do have we have a sunrise. It's raining.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can hear the pitter patter. Oh, this is gorgeous.
That is beautiful. So, yeah, so we want to say thank you so much for the submission of the sunrise. It's on the coast of Belize for sure, of beautiful Belize. We want to acknowledge that we do have some Guatemalan counterparts in our chat. And we see your message, but your message is revoked.
We revoked the message. We don't
Yes.
want, listen to me. No.
But
no.
definitely.
This is by Ronald Stewart too as well. So we're gonna big up you, Ronald. Thank you so much for sending in this submission. And with that, guys, we're gonna go to our first commercial break too as well. So with that, we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Hi, have you heard about the expungement of criminal records? Well, as of August 1st, 2024, the Criminal Records Rehabilitation of Offenders Act allows for you to apply to have certain criminal charges permanently erased from your record. Isn't that amazing?
So, what makes you eligible to apply for expungement? The offense must qualify for expungement based on Schedule 2 and 3 of the law. You must meet the applicable rehabilitation period. This is the time period you must wait before you can apply. The applicant must not have any outstanding matters or have had any other convictions during the rehabilitation period. You can qualify for automatic expungement for certain first-time drug offenses, as well as COVID-related offenses. So, what are the benefits of expungement? Well, it broadens employment and educational opportunities that a criminal record would normally hinder.
It gives you a peace of mind away from the stigma of having a criminal conviction and provides you with access to services that may be otherwise restricted.
If you have a past criminal conviction, here's what you can do to get it expunged. First, verify if you qualify for expungement. Then, prepare the application package. Each package consists of 2 forms. Applications are available countrywide. You then make a non-refundable payment of $100 at your nearest Treasury Department and finally submit the package and payment receipt to any Ministry of Human Development office countrywide. Note, applicants will receive a notification within 90 days to see if their application was approved or denied. So, if you are interested, visit any Human Development office countrywide, any magistrate court, or the Ministry of Home Affairs office in Belmopan. For more information, you can call 227-2716 or you can WhatsApp 613-0343.
The roads of Belize connect us all. Riders, drivers, families, friends. Every day begins with a little routine and the confidence that life's journeys are protected. From school drop-off through the daily grind and everything in between, each with different roads ahead, yet one common goal: to arrive safely. Atlantic Insurance stands with Belize's riders and motorists with affordable protection, support, and peace of mind for the journey ahead. For the roads we share and the lives we protect, Atlantic Insurance is by your side, insuring you from life's unexpected. Atlantic Insurance, insuring you from life's unexpected.
When a hurricane hits, you want to know you're covered. Take time to review your policy details. Are you adequately covered for hurricane damage? Visit us at 1 Coney Drive in Belize City or one of our convenient countrywide agents. Don't face stormy weather without the right insurance. Having the correct coverage is priceless. Remember, it pays to get it right with RF&G Insurance, a Road Group company.
Welcome to the V Department Store. We are conveniently located on Coney Drive in Belize City. That's right on Coney Drive in Belize City. At the V Department Store, we offer a wide variety of groceries, cosmetics, kitchen appliances, kitchenware, electronics, and more. We've also recently expanded to the second floor to better meet your household and office furniture needs. We now have a wide variety of furniture, home decor, and accessories. We have a shared vision for a comfortable and customer-friendly shopping experience. Visit us today and be warmly greeted by our reasonable prices and cordial staff. The V Department Store. Experience the ultimate shopping destination.
Tenemos la capacidad técnica, operativa, profesional y la infraestructura de poder establecer una atención neurológica de alta calidad.
Que no se pierda tiempo de forma innecesaria para poder al final del día llegar al mejor de los resultados y la mejor opción para el paciente.
These charter means aren't
We're navigating along the coastline.
This morning, the 2023
Good evening. Good evening. I'm Sherry Kelso, and here's what's ahead for you on 7 News Tonight. We've got details of these and other stories in our newscast for tonight. Good evening. With your news, I'm Indira Craig.
Please, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
Buenos dias, my beautiful Sunup on 7 family. Welcome back to your Wednesday episode of Sunup on 7. Thank you so much for joining Renata and I and our guests that come to today's episode. We went right into our first topic with our guest, and we have Dr. Leslie Morales Broadhurst joining us today. She works at Medical Associates, is a general and laparoscopic surgeon, and Dr. Leslie is going to be guiding us through a conversation on breast cancer. There we're going to find out more details about what breast cancer is, what are some of the symptoms, what are some of the risk factors, and especially how do you go about evaluating and doing a self-check for you to know if you're in such condition and how you go about getting help. Before we get into that conversation, Dr. Leslie, thank you so much for joining us on this rainy Wednesday. How is your energy today?
Well, I'm excited. I see you guys dancing and ready for independence.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's the vibe today.
And this is a really good conversation. I love your scrubs, by the way.
Thank you. So I want to represent Belizean women because as a Belizean, I have personally firsthand seen how many of our women can be affected by this, and I want to start creating more awareness for an earlier diagnosis.
Most definitely.
Yes.
I love that, you know, in the conversation, we're going to later see about the statistics and what's happening in Belize, as why it's super important too as well for this to be a conversation for everyone. I know that people have asked about men, and so we're going to be talking about men too as well, and breast cancer within men. So all of that's going to be dived into this conversation, so we're really grateful to have it. I think the first thing we can be able to dive into when it comes to breast cancer is just like understanding what it really is and like I can't say this word.
What it is, and then some statistics surrounding it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll break it down.
Yes, please break it down
in
first.
simpler terms. So first thing is, what is breast cancer, right? Breast cancer is an abnormal cell growth in the breast tissue, right? When we speak about breast tissue, we have to remember that both women and men have breast tissue. The difference is going to be in women after we go through puberty, we have a certain development where we have the lobules, which are the milk ducts, and then we have the tubes, which will connect these milk ducts to the nipple, basically, right?
Okay.
So that can give us an idea that we can have different types of breast cancer depending if it's going to be in the lobules or if it's going to be in the ducts. However, men tend to have mostly just the ducts, right?
Yeah.
So this is where we're going to tie in a very small percentage of patients, which is about 1% of men can develop breast cancer.
Ah, interesting.
Very good. Yeah.
So can we look into Belize then in that sense? Because I know you said 1%, so in my mind I'm thinking, what is the context like in Belize?
Okay, so from personal experience, since I came back from my studies and I started working here in Belize, I have worked with Dr. Yakab. I think you guys have had him before. Yes, we work as a team. Our statistics in Belize, basically what we have is around 100 women a year are the ones that are being diagnosed.
Wow.
Right?
And that's relatively high, would you
I
say?
was going to say that's high.
Yes, however, I think we might have a little higher, but what we need to be aware of is that women sometimes don't come in for diagnosis. So we have maybe a little unaccounted number of undiagnosed patients.
Very well. So let's talk about what are some of the risk factors that can contribute to somebody to develop breast cancer.
Okay, so we have a couple of risk factors. The most important being a family history of breast cancer, right? When we say family history, it increases having a family member of the first degree, being a mom, a sister, a daughter, a father. If we have any of these relatives being previously diagnosed with breast cancer, our chances increase by up to 25%, right? That's the main risk factor. However, we also have other risk factors that we need to be aware of. In Belize, unfortunately, we don't have the custom of doing genetic testing as yet, but we do have the genetic factors. We also have
Take your time. Yeah.
we also have other factors, for example, being exposed in women a longer period of time to our natural sexual hormones. So what this is going to mean, for example, is women that have had an early menstruation, an early period before the age of 11, or women that have a late menopause after 55 years. This time period in our life extends the exposure to these natural hormones that we have. Also, women that have not given birth or haven't breastfed, and women that there is a small percentage of patients, for example, that are exposed to birth controls or women after menopause that take supplemental hormones. So all of these factors can be tied in as a risk factor.
Okay, I'm curious if we can talk for a bit in the role that contraceptives play in increasing the risk for breast cancer. Could you give us some more insight into that?
We don't have a specific statistic here in Belize.
But it's just like, how does contraceptives?
It's not as high of a risk factor as, for example, the family history, right? So it's a very minor, very minor risk factor.
Okay.
Right?
I've also heard about conversations regarding the diet and how much, especially in regards to meats, and how meats, they have hormones added to them for the growth of whatever livestock or poultry that people are consuming. Would this in any way contribute to an increase in cancer, in breast cancer for persons?
Normally, it's mostly the hormones that we have in our system already, the ones that we produce. There are certain myths that certain foods can cause breast cancer.
Okay.
But like we mentioned, we have other risk factors that are much more important, right?
Okay.
Obesity after menopause it can cause a little increase in breast cancer risk.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing that. So let's talk about, you already shared some of the incidences of like, what's the prevalence of breast cancer in Belize. I'm also curious to know like if there's like an age range where you're observing most of these cases taking place. What is the earliest case that maybe has been detected from your awareness, and the latest also?
So that's a very good question. Normally, here in Belize, we have seen around 100 women a year. That's what we normally expect. It's higher in women over the age of 40, normally higher in women over the age of 60, between 60, 70, and 80. However, we have seen patients as young as 20, 30 years when they have a family history of a direct family member having this. So as long as you're in a reproductive age, I think we're all at risk.
I also want to look at just the idea of the stages too as well. Because I know you mentioned there's like about 100 people that we're seeing that's been reported that are coming in. But like we're looking at the stages, how, when they're coming in, do we have like any kind of data on like what stages they're coming in with too as well? And what is the rate of you being able to survive from breast cancer?
Yes, so this is another important question, and this is where I have taken it upon myself as a Belizean woman surgeon to try to create more awareness. We can all learn about breast cancer and change this narrative, right?
Of course.
Because at the moment, what we're seeing is these women that come in and are diagnosed, majority of them are already at a stage 3. And from these patients, 25% are already at a stage 4, which is very advanced, right? So usually an earlier diagnosis, like in a stage 1, would create a better outcome for these patients, right? An early diagnosis, let's say at a stage 1, can have between a 95 and a 99% success rate at 5 years. So it's very, extremely important to be aware and to get an early diagnosis.
That's a very important question that Renata asked, especially, you know, to know what we're dealing with, especially you within the medical system. So can we talk about now, you shared that there's women coming to get diagnosed on an advanced stage of cancer. And earlier you also mentioned that not as much women are coming to get diagnosed or get evaluated. Can you briefly share from your consultations, what are some of the factors that contribute to women not coming to the clinic to get evaluated? And also, then we move on to like, how do we evaluate your breasts?
Yes. So I think from experience, what I've been getting from these patients that come in, I think it's mostly about myths and lack of education about the topic, right? Because most of us don't think that we're a walking risk factor, right? But truth is that we don't know if we're going to be affected, right? Because remember that back then, our parents, our grandparents, we don't really have a real medical history before. It's now that we're being tested and we're being more aware. So I think it's important to be educated on the topic. And
definitely, I think education does play a big role in people being more aware of it, more aware of the symptoms that we're going to talk about later into this conversation. For you to say, okay, I need to go to Dr. Leslie and get evaluated. I know that the Ministry of Health, also other medical entities, they would advocate for you to do constant checkups of your breast at home so that you can notice any abnormalities before you go and you would get that evaluated. Dr. Leslie, can you give us a guidance into how somebody can self-examine themselves before they go and consult with the doctor?
Yes. So this is the part where the props come in.
Very well.
So would you want to help me on this?
Yes, I want to, Dr. Leslie. I'm excited.
Okay. So we have a little scenario here, right? So we have, let's say these are our breasts, right? And we have different sizes, different shapes. So it doesn't matter if it's the smallest or the biggest size, we all need to do our self-evaluation, right? So I don't know which one you want to be.
I want to be the smaller one.
Perfect. Okay, so at home, I know every woman has a mirror.
Of course.
Right? So the most important thing is I recommend doing it once a week.
Once a week.
Right? Once a week. As a woman, you should know your body. Even men, right?
Yeah,
we
we do testicular exams. Yeah.
So at home, when you're going to go take a shower or after a shower, take your mirror, stand in front of your mirror, right? The first thing you're going to do is just look at yourself.
Okay.
Right? So what we want to look at is the anatomy, the structure, any changes in coloration, in size, anything that does not look normal.
Any lumps, anything on the side?
Yes, anything that's poking or leaking, anything that is not normal. Not all breasts are perfectly symmetrical. There probably will be a slight little difference, but if there is a massive difference in size, then that can ring a bell also, right? So let's say this is our breast tissue. It's round. This would be the nipple, right? Okay. So what we're gonna do, for example, if we're doing the left breast, what we're gonna do is put our hand behind our head. Yes. Unfortunately, you have to hold it. But okay, let's imagine that we're like this in front of our mirror. And what we're gonna do is with the other hand, we're gonna palpate. We're gonna press in a circular motion, really soft, because you wanna get in there and feel the tissue, right? All around.
Okay.
To see if you're feeling anything. Feel the texture, if it's smooth, or if there's any dimpling. And then what you wanna do is also squeeze towards the nipple, see if there's any secretion, or if your nipple is being retracted, like pulling inward, right? So those are some of the symptoms that we want to
So
look.
if there is secretion,
Yes,
then
that's it, very important to get it checked out.
that's okay. They need to
Right?
check that out.
Yes, we need to check that out. So anything, like for example, any changes in coloration, any changes in skin texture, like your one would be an example, the orange peel skin, it shouldn't look like that. It should be smooth. If you have an
Gotcha.
area that has that sort of tissue, we need to check it out. If we have any redness, any changes in temperature, any pain, right?
So if it's like tender or anything
Yes.
like that.
So normally these symptoms will show in a little bit more advanced stages. The earlier stages don't tend to have any symptoms. Maybe a little heaviness in the breast or a little lump that does not have any symptoms. So the final part of the self-examination is, since we have our arm here, right? We're gonna go in under our armpit, right? All the way from
because you would get the lumps here
vertical
too
region
as well?
here and under this muscle, right? Because we have the breast tissue coming all the way into the armpit region.
Okay. And you advise doing this at least once a week?
At least once a week. So you're gonna do both breasts similar.
At what point would you recommend for men to do such evaluation also?
I would suggest same as women. Maybe men once a month.
Once a month.
And especially if you have a relative with this history,
The history.
then maybe more frequently, right?
Okay.
But for women, it's very important to do this evaluation because you are going to be the first one to notice any changes in your body.
Okay.
And then now we move on into the diagnosis methods,
medical.
right? So, for example, if you're at a young age where your breast tissue is more dense, sometimes mammograms are not really the first method. It would be maybe an ultrasound, right? Because of the denseness of the breast tissue. But after age 40, it's ideal for every woman to have a mammogram once a year.
Once a year.
This is in patients that have average risks, right? Now, in women that have higher risks, which are the risk factors that we mentioned before, it's ideal to maybe start at 30, 35. We do a mammogram, right? So remember, we said that the initial stages may not present any symptoms. Early detection is going to be through a mammogram.
Right.
Usually a routine mammogram, right?
Yeah.
So this is why we want to create awareness.
Yeah.
Get your evaluation.
Yeah.
And you do your checkup, sorry.
Yeah. One of the reasons I've heard, because I work in health and sexual health, and one of the reasons that people would ask about or would be fearful of going for a breast exam, they say that whenever they go through the process of doing a breast exam, it's a painful process because, you know, like your breast has to be like squeezed into a machine. Can you talk about that and any comfort that you can give to women that are, you know, just having this, you know, like this preconceived notion as to that this is how their evaluation is going to go, which is preventing them from going to get an exam. Can you talk about this process?
So, yes, basically what the mammogram is let's say imaging, like an X-ray. However, we need to squeeze the breast tissue downward and sideways, right? That's what the machine will do. Yes, I will say it's uncomfortable.
It's uncomfortable.
But remember that in the initial stages, there shouldn't regularly be any pain.
Okay.
Right? It's going to be a bit more painful if we're having something suspicious.
Oh.
But it's not a pain that is going to last a long time. There are things, maybe we can take a little ibuprofen or something before and after. But I think at the end of the day, it's more important to get it done than live with the fear of, is it going to hurt?
Yeah.
And would you say too as well, because I know that when a woman is having her menstrual, right? It's not, you're very sensitive, or like after or before. So would you recommend not getting, when would you see the best time for a woman to get a mammogram, considering that's going to be squeezing you?
or depending on your menstrual cycle,
Yeah.
is there like any connection between where you are in your menstrual cycle and when should you go for a screening?
Yeah.
Like similarly, whenever people go do a pap smear, right?
Yeah.
They said you do not go like certain days before your
Yes.
menstruation or certain days after. Is there anything in that regard for doing a breast exam?
Well, the self-breast exam is at home. You do it yourself, right?
Very well.
And sometimes when you go to your first contact doctor, right, or your nurse, could be a nurse, some health professional, a general practitioner, any doctor, as long as you seek help. Normally, the first thing would be we request an ultrasound just to see an image if there's anything suspicious, right? Depending on that, if there is something suspicious, then we send you to the mammogram, right?
Okay, so it's
if
not
if that's the
automatically-
first contact, right?
Okay.
However, if you are within the age range that we discussed, I think, yes, we can go ahead and do
Okay.
the mammogram
So
immediately.
menstruation cycle has
There
nothing to do.
is, during the menstrual cycle, the week before your menstruation and the week during your menstruation, you will be a little bit more sensitive. It's not going to be something really significant pain-wise.
Okay.
Yes, you're more sensitive, but there's nothing wrong with which week of the month you decide to do the diagnosis. What's going to be important is if there is something suspicious, check it immediately.
Yeah,
Very
make
well.
sure you
That's
just
so
get
good to
yourself
know.
together.
That's so
Yes.
good to know. Dr. Let's just start winding down on this conversation. Now let's talk about somebody comes to your clinic, you do the evaluation, you detect them with cancer. What is the availability of treatment like in country? How that may look like? What resources are available for such person?
Okay, so let's remember that not all lumps initially, well, not all lumps are cancer.
Okay,
So
very good.
Big myth.
at the beginning, we need to investigate, and until we have some sort of certain diagnosis, then we can label it, because we don't want to scare the patient.
Very well, yeah.
Right? So not every lump is cancer, right? Normally, the diagnosis will be done with 3 criteria, which is the clinical evaluation, looking at the breast with the symptoms, signs and symptoms that we discussed. Then it would be a mammogram, and lastly, a biopsy, right? We need to go in and take a sample of the tissue to determine if there are cancerous cells and what type of cells. Remember, we spoke about the ducts and the tubes. So we're going to have different tissues, and depending on which type it is, this will be determined during the pathology from the biopsy.
Okay.
Then that will determine what type of therapy we're going to get.
Okay.
So this is where we work together with Dr. Yakab, which is our oncologist in Belize, because depending on the pathological diagnosis, which type it is, then normally Dr. Yakab would give the chemotherapy. In Belize, since most of our women come in at a more advanced stage, most have to get chemotherapy before the surgical treatment, because this helps to shrink the size of the tumor.
Right.
Right? So we would get chemotherapy, shrink the size of the tumor, and when they've completed their cycles, that's when they come back to the surgeon, and then we can determine what's the next step, which is surgery-wise treatment, right? For treatment, I brought some little images. So we can have in earlier stages, we can do a lumpectomy, which is a simple, well, it's a more simple procedure where we remove the lump, the tissue, smaller portion of breast tissue, right? Trying to spare the majority of the breast. But that is, we have to have specific criteria, right? That it's actually in the initial stages. What we don't want to risk is leaving behind cancerous tissue just for, let's say, trying to save majority of the breast. We don't want to, we have to be very specific.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that go back, guys, to the lump.
So this is the image where we can see the lobules and the tubes. Okay, this one is the lumpectomy, right?
Okay.
So you can see a small incision at the top when we have a very specific small mass that has been diagnosed. Remember we spoke about feeling under the armpits?
Yeah.
We need to make sure that there are no nodules, meaning that the cancer has not spread to a nodule under the armpit. So this is going to be in the initial stages. We can probably perform a lumpectomy to save the breast. Now, in more advanced stages, we do have to perform a mastectomy, which is removing all of the breast, the nipple, the areola,
The whole thing.
the whole breast,
Wow.
including the little nodules that go under the armpit, right?
Oh.
So that would be a radical mastectomy, right?
Okay.
So which procedure will be done will depend on the stage where you were diagnosed and also how you've responded to your initial treatment. It doesn't end there, it's a long journey, right? Because after they've received the surgical treatment, we do need to send that tissue that was removed to another pathology evaluation, right?
Yeah.
Because that is going to give us the final diagnosis of which type of cancer it was, and then also they are tested for certain hormonal receptors, right? Remember we talked about hormones?
Oh,
So
yes.
different breast cancers can have different hormonal receptors,
Yeah.
right?
Interesting.
Why this is important? Because after the surgical treatment, then we go back to Dr. Yakab, who's our oncologist, and then with this result, we're going to see what the final therapy is, right?
Okay.
Should the patient have to get more chemotherapy, get more radiotherapy, or if they get some sort of hormonal therapy, right?
Yeah.
So hopefully in the future, we can have Dr. Yakab
Yeah,
come back and we
that would
can
be a
do
great, that would be a
full-
very good conversation
full
to have with him.
conversation.
Yeah, on how do we go about supporting, you know, persons that are going through their diagnosis and treatment for cancer. As we start wrapping up this conversation, Dr. Leslie, do you feel like there's something important that we did not share during this conversation that we have to talk about?
So availability for treatment in Belize. At the moment, we do have chemotherapy.
Very well, that's good. to
We
know.
have some sort of hormonal therapy after, and we have surgical therapy. What we don't have in Belize, unfortunately, is radiotherapy. So when a patient does need radiotherapy, they need to seek this treatment outside of the country.
Yeah,
Hopefully in the future we can, you
yeah,
know,
definitely,
that going.
definitely.
I love it. I just wanted you to know that there's love in the chat too as well for you as you were
Oh,
doing
really?
this
That's
conversation.
amazing.
So people are saying, my favorite Belizean surgeon. We also have someone said, good job.
Thank you.
Bless, I'll forever be grateful for you. I'm here now doing good and I'm still on the journey for my breast cancer. So
Oh,
just
that's
letting you know.
amazing.
So
Thank you.
definitely there is love
Yeah,
in here
yeah.
for the work that you're doing. So
Definitely.
thank you so much for
Yeah.
having this
Thank
And
conversation.
I'd also like to add as we wrap up that it's very important to have community and mental health support for persons that are going through
Yes.
their cancer journey.
Like I said,
Because
it's a
not
very long journey.
Yeah, and it's not an easy diagnosis. Treatment can have you feeling a certain way, and definitely mental health support is very, very important.
It is
especially
important.
for women that I've seen that have gone through mastectomies, right?
Yes.
Whenever you change your identity and your presentation of your body, that can affect the psychology of women too. So there is very important to give them support for them to be able to see themselves in this new light of how they're going to be presenting themselves, which is very, very important.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
As a doctor, we have to respect certain decisions, right? We want to save everyone. Unfortunately, there are some patients that decide to just not do any treatment, right? And that breaks my heart because everyone deserves a chance, right?
Yeah.
But as a doctor, we have to respect.
Of course.
We have to respect decisions.
Yep.
But I'm trying to make this my personal mission to educate all our Belizean women and just remember that there's not really a specific age. Everyone can be at risk, but we can change this narrative with an early detection, right?
So a weekly checkup in your bathroom helps. A yearly mammogram also
Check
helps.
the boobs, check
Definitely.
the boobs, right?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Leslie, for joining us and having this great conversation with us. Fortunately, it's time for us to wrap up the conversation. So we definitely we're going to have another October is Breast Awareness Month.
Yes, so we can
also.
come back
So we
and
look
talk
forward
about
to
myths and all these
having that conversation
Yes,
with
so
you then.
hoping to have a next conversation with you too as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
No
Thank you
problem
so
at all.
much. So
I
informative.
hope that what you guys can take from this is how to do a proper breast evaluation.
Most
right?
definitely. When you come back, we have to eat like a pro after that. But I bring a bigger one, I want to eat like a pro.
We're going to bring different size.
Yes! Oh my goodness, somebody said we forgot grapefruit.
Or a breadfruit.
A breadfruit.
So it's a breadfruit.
We're gonna bring something. So guys, stay tuned for that, and of course, make sure you do your checkups as much as possible. Weekly, do your checks too as well, from the mirror, and get comfortable with your body. I liked how Dr. Lessa said you have to like first stay in front of that mirror and look at yourself and, you know, assess if everything is looking the way it's supposed to.
True.
You can't do that if you're not looking in front of the mirror weekly. So definitely important conversations to have. And with that, we're going to go to our next commercial break. But when we are back, we dive into excitement about Pharmacy Week and what is in store. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
We are the Public Utilities Commission. Since 1999, we have regulated Belize's electricity, water, and telecommunication sectors, ensuring quality services at reasonable rates for consumers. A lot has changed since our establishment in 1999, and so have we. To reflect our evolution and future-focused vision, we are proud to introduce our new identity, where the blend of colors show our balanced and inclusive approach to regulation, where innovation, sustainability, and trust are all equally important. Orange represents the telecommunications sector and symbolizes innovation and connectivity. Green reflects the energy sector, sustainability, and national growth. Blue represents the water sector, highlighting trust, stability, and life-sustaining resources. White symbolizes transparency and accountability, core principles of the PUC. We are the Public Utilities Commission, transitioning to a new look, but our core values remain the same: accountability, excellence, integrity, innovation, and professionalism. Our logo is more than a design. It is our visual commitment to continue to serve the people of Belize with transparency, competence, and professionalism. We are the Public Utilities Commission.
Welcome to the V Department Store. We are conveniently located on Coney Drive in Belize City. That's right on Coney Drive in Belize City. At the V Department Store, we offer a wide variety of groceries, cosmetics, kitchen appliances, kitchenware, electronics, and more. We've also recently expanded to the second floor to better meet your household and office furniture needs. We now have a wide variety of furniture, home decor, and accessories. We have a shared vision for a comfortable and customer-friendly shopping experience. Visit us today and be warmly greeted by our reasonable prices and cordial staff. The V Department Store. Experience the ultimate shopping destination.
Tenemos la capacidad técnica, operativa, profesional y la infraestructura de poder establecer una atención neurológica de alta calidad.
Que no se pierda tiempo de forma innecesaria para poder al final del día llegar al mejor de los resultados y la mejor opción para el paciente.
These charter means aren't
We're navigating along the coast.
This morning, the 2023
Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Shiri Halsell,
And here's what's ahead for you on 7 News Tonight. We've got details of these and other stories in our newscast for tonight. Good evening. With your news, I'm Indira Craig.
Please, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
Muy buenos dias, my beautiful Sunup and 7 family. Welcome back to your Wednesday episode. Just before the commercial break, we had a great conversation with Dr. Leslie Morales Broadhurst. We were talking about breast cancer, and of course, she's talking about what are some of the myths, some of the symptoms, and of course, how can you get evaluated and treated. If you enjoyed that conversation, you can always go back and watch the Facebook recorded live. Share with somebody that's, you know, going to be valuing that information. And if you need to have a consultation with her, you can always find her at the Belize Medical Associates. Move on to our next conversation, and still health related, as we talk about the upcoming Pharmacy Day. And UB is going to be commemorating and celebrating this day. Today we're going to find out more details as to why pharmacies are important and how they're going to be celebrating this day. Joining us on our couch, we have the Dean of Faculty of Health Sciences and Senior Lecturer, Ms. Leah Turton, joining us. Ms. Leah, good morning. How is your energy today?
I'm good.
Thank you so much for joining us to talk about this very important role that you do as a lecturer, but also as a pharmacist. And we have two of your students joining you on our couch. We have Tara Flores and Drew Gill. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
How are you doing today?
Doing great.
Yeah? Are you ready for this Pharmacy Day?
We are, and it's going to be a whole week of activities.
A whole week of activities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know last year you did such incredible activity where you brought so many people to the Belmopan campus, talking about the role, the pharmacies, and having alternative medicine and all
right.
those things.
We had an expo.
Yeah, yeah. We're very eager to hear what you're going to be having
How do you top that,
today.
right? Like, you know.
We try.
You know, try. So definitely. So I think one of the important things that we had this conversation last time is letting people understand and introduce, you know, what pharmacists are really, to have them zoom in properly to the concept of what a pharmacist is.
Yes.
So I guess, Mr. Turton, I'm going to ask you for that to support.
Thank you for having us. And I'm here to support our students and their initiative to commemorate World Pharmacist Day, which is actually September 25th, next week, Thursday.
Ah, okay.
But the week is usually celebrated as Pharmacy Week. And this year the theme is Think Health, Think Pharmacist. And it's highlighting the role of the pharmacist as a member, an integral member of the healthcare team. You know, we're not just there to dispense medication, but we play a greater role and recognizing the value that the pharmacist brings to the healthcare system in terms of monitoring of therapeutic regimens, disease management, patient counseling, helping people understand what the medication is supposed to do for them.
Jobs too as well.
Yes. And also being engaged in health promotion activities you know, and public, doing pharmacy services from a public health perspective where it's about education and preventative measures before you get to where you need medication to help you with your whatever condition is you're dealing with. So think health, it's not, you know, there's this member of the healthcare team who is the most accessible in your community.
That is true.
Because when you look just on Albert Street, you can just walk into a pharmacy and ask to speak to the pharmacist, and there's this skilled, trained, licensed professional you can get advice from.
That is so true, because you don't even know what you, sometimes you don't know what you have, and you're going in there and be like, this is how I'm feeling, and they're gonna walk you through the entire process of like, this tackles this, blah, 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 etc. Do you have dietary restrictions? Like little things like that, and it's really important to see.
And from my role as an educator, I always encourage building relationships with the community that you're working in, that you're serving, you know, building that relationship so that you understand what the needs are of that community that you're working with and you know. So think health, think pharmacist is engaging more with your pharmacists in your community. And so this year, the student club at university, I believe, has decided, you know what, we want to do something to highlight the role of the pharmacist beyond dispensing of medication.
I appreciate what you've shared with us, Ms. Lydia, as it highlights the integral part that pharmacists play in the health system. Right? You know, you see them behind the window, handing your meds, but there's definitely a larger role that they play.
Bigger process.
Thank you so much for reminding our viewers to connect with the pharmacists in your community, because in one way or another, you're able to help and get some guidance as to how do you navigate whatever health situation you're going through. We truly appreciate that. Let's talk to Tara here. Tara, from your experience as a student and also like in motivating yourself to be a pharmacist, what are some of these misconceptions that people have about pharmacists?
Well, most people believe that pharmacists are just pill counters, that we sit behind a counter with...
I'm joking.
In addition to...
We don't only count the pills, boo. Okay? Tell us we do more.
Yes, we do more than just count pills. We are educators and advocates for medications, and we have to be trusted. We have to be we are the front line. So most people would turn to us first before they think about going to a clinic or a hospital.
It's so true.
And it's quite easier to just step into a pharmacy, buy what you need, and then go home and take what you give. But that's not how we do. We have to be able to tell them how they should take the medication. We have to make sure that they're taking it properly, so it's effective and it treats you the way you need it to treat you.
Definitely.
I like when you said about trust, right? Because I don't know about you know, but when I go to a pharmacist, I never ever doubt and like think that whatever they give to me, just know it'll work. Like you just go with the full faith that like whatever they're saying is gonna be able to like work properly for you. And I think it's that level of trust that you guys have with the community.
And that's
that they know that you're gonna ask the questions like, are you taking other medication? Are you like, these are the things that you guys build this relationship. So it's more than just counting the pill and say, okay, I'm gonna give you 21 or whatever it is. But it's really like understanding that client and being able to provide that. So I think that's really important.
Yeah, definitely. Because from interactions with the health system, I've realized that the role that pharmacists play is, for one, giving a sense of comfort and answering the questions that the patient was unable to ask because maybe they were nervous to their physician, right? So you come to you and you're like, let's do a last assessment. Did you get this? Did you tell them about this? Da, 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 da. And you're able to give them that last reinforcement. And the topic of educating how you're supposed to take whatever treatment is very, very critical. I reflect on a situation where this mother was given this syrup for the baby to take, and it said shake well before drinking, and the mother shake the baby rather than shaking the syrup, right? So it's like, how key is it important for you to be like, do you understand how you're supposed to take it? Because language barrier can be a thing, nervousness can be a thing, and here you are saying we are advocating and educating you properly on how you're supposed to take your treatment. That's super, super important.
Two of the primary roles of pharmacy is to help and to educate. And for you to do that, you have to understand where they're coming from and looking at some of the issues that might present some degree of a barrier in that patient counseling process. So having that relationship, being open, being receptive, and you know, building that trusting relationship is important.
And people trust their pharmacist.
Yes.
One thing, they know I trust their husband or whatever, but they want to trust them. My pharmacist tell me I'm supposed to take this right after I eat, and I'm supposed to drink no milk, and I follow exactly what my pharmacist say.
Yes.
So it's definitely important to acknowledge what you guys bring to the table and how it's important for your role to be able to be valued completely.
So Tara, is there like any other misconception that we missed? And also, like, I want to ask you, like, a lot of people, they would go and take their treatment and do not fulfill the entire treatment regimen. Can you remind our viewers, why is it important for you to complete whatever days they tell you that you're supposed to
I
take?
done better now, man. I don't know if you take the last 6 pills.
Exactly.
Most people do that, yes, with antibiotics especially. And it's very dangerous because if you don't, I feel better after 3 days, me not have to take no more. And that's not okay, because then whatever you're sick with, the microbes, whatever the virus, it can build immunity to that. And then later on, you have to use a stronger medication, and then it will harm your liver and your kidneys. So you're just hurting yourself if you're not taking the medication to time.
Yeah.
And doing the full dose. Very important.
Yeah.
So let's talk about highlighting and valuing guys to us. So Drew, and I bring you into this conversation.
Yeah, I mean, you're just a chill,
you get to put in some work here, put in your chunk of meat. Tell us what activities are you guys planning for Pharmacy Week?
Right. So we have two major things that will be happening. The first one will be here in Belize City at the Central Region. They'll be hosting an open day next week, Tuesday. Right. And they will be, it's something for community service. They'll be highlighting the role of the pharmacist there as well, to share with passers-by, with schools, whoever wants to come out and be supportive and to learn. We will be having BMI testing and glucose testing, blood pressure monitoring, some of the misuse, overuse of contraceptives. So a lot of very relevant topics to everybody. So we'll be doing that in Belize City on Tuesday, and on Thursday we're having something quite similar in Belmopan on campus. That's starting at 9 o'clock and finishing around 11:30. We've invited all the high schools in Belmopan. They've all said they'll be there. Looking forward to that. And we also have a old alumna, Miss Jolene Purnananda, who is a practicing pharmacist at Medicare Plus in Belmopan. She'll also be there to give a short talk to the students, the entire student body at UB, and the students coming there from the different high schools. So we're really looking forward to just making it. We want to do it annually. We're hoping to come here at this time of year, every year, to see you guys and to just reinforce the importance of the pharmacist in the medical landscape in Belize. Because to the points of my colleagues, you hear we keep saying we're not just pill pushers. We're not, and I have been privileged to, something that the university requires of its students is to do hours experiential learning at different forms of pharmacies. So the community pharmacy, the clinical pharmacy, the hospital pharmacy, and I've already done several, and it's been an amazing experience to see how pharmacists navigate in the different, environments.
That is true.
Because whilst this might work here, it might not work here. And something that really took me aback, and I'd be remiss not to mention it, is our call name.
Call it, man.
So I worked at St. Luke's over the summer. Amazing experience. Big up to Miss Rosa Ashpap there, Mr. Castillo, and the whole team, Mikey, Jeremiah. They taught me so much in such a short period of time. But the thing that stood out the most was to see doctors, long practicing doctors, come into the pharmacy and say, hey, I have a patient presenting X, Y, and Z. I was thinking about A, B, and C. We're on board? And I was like, what? Because at the community setting,
it's supposed to happen like
it
that.
is supposed to happen.
That's the makeup. That's
following the expertise
how
of
it's
the
designed.
business, right? Your knowledge.
And the truth is, we study a lot of pharmacology, the way how drugs, work in the body, pharmacokinetics. I don't want to throw about the terms, but how the body works on the drug, how the drug works on the body. And so we are professionals when it comes to how these drugs work on different on your body, you know. So I saw that and was so taken aback because in a community setting, they come in, they give you a prescription, you fill it out. Of course, you tell them how to take it, what to stay away from, when to take it with food, no grapefruit. You mentioned stay away from the dairy products. And we need to know why we're telling folks not to do that, not just to tell them not to, you know. So, but that's the scene in the community. And so I was really just wowed to see the collaboration happening at the pharmacy setting in the hospital, and that's how it is. You know, so I knew that if we brought doctors and nurses here, med lab experts, they'd be sure to tell you, you know, yeah, they're pharmacists, they know what they do. And we're all products of the University of Belize.
So thank you so much for sharing that anecdote as to like what from your experience at St. Luke's, and I'm sure like I've witnessed that also, where it once more highlights the key role that the pharmacists play in the health system and ensuring that people have a better quality of healthcare and also a better quality of life. So reminding our viewers that your event is taking place in Belize City on Tuesday and Belmopan on Thursday.
The event on Tuesday, again, is an invitation from the pharmacy unit at Central Health Region to collaborate with our students. So it's our fourth year pharmacy students who will be engaged in this activity in Belize City, and in Belmopan, it's the club, the entire pharmacy.
So you're gonna see all these faces right there in Belmopan.
And we want to nurture that environment for our first and second year students in particular, because you don't really get into the meat of pharmacy until you reach your third year.
It's a 5-year program.
5-year
bachelor's program.
Wow.
But we want to ensure that even the first and second years feel involved and are locked into what we're trying to do on a larger scale. So sure, we're having it at the university. Maybe next year we're going to have it that we can invite all of the city. You know, we don't know. We don't know, but we want to create that atmosphere and that knowledge for the entire public to know, hey, this is what we're about, and we're continuing to just broaden our horizons.
Definitely. Thank you so much for highlighting that. As I start wrapping up this conversation, Ms. Lydia, let's not miss the opportunity for anybody that's tuning into this conversation, seeing the vital role that pharmacists play in our community. How does somebody go about enrolling into the program? And when is there like any deadline?
You go to the University of Belize website and you click on Apply Now. It's right on the first page.
Okay, very well.
And yes, the basic requirements is that you have a foundation in chemistry, biology, math, because we build on that, right? And like I said, it's a 5-year program at University of Belize. The final year is dedicated to internship. So they rotate through different practice sites, different areas of practice. So right now we have about 24 students on internship. And today we have another 20 or so taking their board exams. So we wish them all the best.
Wish them all the best, yes.
Oh my.
Big up the guys.
To becoming licensed pharmacists under the laws of Belize.
Very well.
So yes, you go to the University of Belize website, and the very first page, it's a big button that says Apply Now.
Very well. Thank you so much for
be able to
sharing
start
that.
in January, right?
No,
or
we do intake in August because of, we have the sequential nature of our programs. So we want people to start on track and remain on track.
So you have time, guys. Apply now.
Yes, and get all your necessary requirements on board.
One last shout out that
go ahead.
So we are also getting help from the med lab students in Belmopan to lead with the blood pressure monitoring, the glucose testing. They've been trained to do that as well. So we've invited the med lab program. We've invited the nursing, and we've even extended an invitation to the School of Medicine, because remember, we're the trained doctors at UB now as well.
And we operate as a team. We don't work in isolation, and having that network and working and contributing your area of expertise as a member of that team is critical.
And this is a good
so you
message
learn
to the
that
community too
you
as
learn
well.
that from the classroom, and you take that into the practice.
So you don't have a problem with going to the pharmacist and checking about, because you don't
We're
learn it
all-
from the classroom, right?
We're all co-workers,
Exactly.
and we will all be co-workers. So we need to start, building that rapport within ourselves from now.
Yes, to wrap up, Tara, we're going to give you the role of inviting once more to our viewers who are tuning into this conversation to come to your open days to get to know pharmacists better, get to know what services you have. So please do us the honors of sending out that last invitation.
Well, soon at the pharmacy.
I love it.
Short and sweet and to the point.
Get it right. Soon at the pharmacy day.
Yes.
But with that, guys, we're going to remind you next week, Tuesday, at
Belize City Central Health Region.
And then
Drive,
Thursday,
Belmopan Campus, University of Belize.
we planned that together just now. So we're going to go to our last commercial break. And when we are back, we're going to be wrapping up today's show, guys. Stay tuned.
Roads of Belize connect us all. Riders, drivers, families, friends. Every day begins with a little routine and the confidence that life's journeys are protected. From school drop-off through the daily grind and everything in between, each with different roads ahead, yet one common goal: to arrive safely. Atlantic Insurance stands with Belize's riders and motorists with affordable protection, support, and peace of mind for the journey ahead. For the roads we share and the lives we protect, Atlantic Insurance is by your side, insuring you from life's unexpected. Atlantic Insurance, insuring you from life's unexpected.
When a hurricane hits, you want to know you're covered. Take time to review your policy details. Are you adequately covered for hurricane damage? Visit us at 1 Coney Drive in Belize City or one of our convenient countrywide agents. Don't face stormy weather without the right insurance. Having the correct coverage is priceless. Remember, it pays to get it right with RF&G Insurance, a Road Group company.
Welcome to the V Department Store. We are conveniently located on Coney Drive in Belize City. That's right on Coney Drive in Belize City. At the V Department Store, we offer a wide variety of groceries, cosmetics, kitchen appliances, kitchenware, electronics, and more. We've also recently expanded to the second floor to better meet your household and office furniture needs. We now have a wide variety of furniture, home decor, and accessories. We have a shared vision for a comfortable and customer-friendly shopping experience. Visit us today and be warmly greeted by our reasonable prices and cordial staff. The V Department Store. Experience the ultimate shopping destination.
Tenemos la capacidad técnica, operativa, profesional y la infraestructura de poder establecer una atención neurológica de alta calidad.
Que no se pierda tiempo de forma innecesaria para poder al final del día llegar al mejor de los resultados y la mejor opción para el paciente.
These charter means aren't
We're navigating along the coastline.
This morning, the 2023
Good evening. Good evening. I'm Cherie Halsell, and here's what's ahead for you on 7 News Tonight. We've got details of these and other stories in our newscast for tonight. Good evening. With your news, I'm Endure Craig.
Please, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
we are back. I haven't said what's up in a long time.
That is true. What happened to you?
I don't know. I didn't want to say it in Spanish due to the situation.
What would be in Spanish?
¿Qué pasó?
¿Qué pasó?
Why you literally asking what would it
Yeah,
be
yeah,
in
just
Spanish?
checking if you.
You're check. I'm gonna check you, Kevin.
Just to check you
Do
if you know.
know?
Of course, I do know.
Okay. Anyways, we're not start this today just before I go, guys. I am not like the Prime Minister that's flying out every minute because everybody in the chat they're like, "We're not gonna get just like the Prime Minister." My friend is getting married. I have to leave. The last time I left was for my anniversary. Last time before that was because just need a leave trip. But
See. Sounds like plain bate.
Look who they talk. Mr. Africa, Mr. Where else you gone to as well? I feel like you gone other places. You went talk about your trips.
Yeah.
You gone places. You gone to like 3 places this year too as well, right?
I've traveled, yeah.
No, come and pretend. No, watch how he be like, but I've traveled. Kev.
But definitely.
You've been around.
Yeah, yeah.
You've been around.
I've been around. Yeah.
But yeah, guys, we are just gonna be reminding you Friday
is Sunup on 7th.
Independence Day special. So join Kevin and an amazing host that's gonna be sharing the space and making sure that you guys have a great time with all the hip hip hoorays and blah blah blah, etc. I was gonna say the lead, the lead chime when they say.
No.
I'm not gonna say it on TV though.
Okay.
It goes hip hip hooray. Yo, you know what to talk about, Bri. You know what to talk about.
I did not know.
Fill in the blanks. I don't know if you can fill in the blanks.
I know, like people say, I know my knees.
No, darling.
Like, I know my knees.
No. Hip hip hooray. Yo, and then okay, anyways.
Renata.
Yes, darling.
People are asking, what happened to this patriotic outfit that you were going to wear at the 10th Bram?
What had happened was I got sick. I got sick on the 10th Bram. I never even gone to 10th Bram. I never gone nowhere. I just made a big chill, so I apologize in advance.
Yeah.
But it me rough, man. It me rough.
Yeah.
It me rough. So, it's not giving what it needs to give on it. But I am staying true to my red, white, and blue for the entire month of September.
Very good.
I only changed on like
your birthday.
My birthday, and then also Friday we had to,
yellow.
do the prevention for suicide prevention and wear the yellow. So I just want to throw that out there. Wearing those.
Yeah, I want to
colors.
highlight my socks too. Yeah. Sunset socks. Where does your Charlotte?
Put your foot up in the air. You know, do that long time. Do you stop stretching now? Is that it? What happened to you?
Catch cramp.
You haven't done it in a while.
That is true. That is true. I need to work better on that.
Check yourself, babe. Check yourself.
Claudia put something on hip hip hooray.
Oh, she put in the filling?
Some last part about your thing being gray.
Yes.
Yeah,
okay, good.
Yeah. There we go. All right. I learned something new today. So as we wrap up, we want to say thank you to the pharmacy faculty of the University of Belize that joined us today to send us an invitation for you to join their open day at the Belize campus on Tuesday and their open day at the Belmopan campus on Thursday to go and connect with the pharmacists, know what are the requirements for you to enroll in the courses, of course, what the role of pharmacists are in the community, and what services they have available. We also want to thank Dr. Leslie Morales Broadhurst to join us today to talk about breast cancer. It was a very, very informative conversation as regards to the anatomy, how do you self-evaluate, what are the evaluations whenever you go to visit a physician, and what are the possible treatment options that you may get here in Belize or abroad. Definitely informative, and if you missed that, you can always go back and watch the Facebook recorded live to know what that conversation was about.
We're definitely hoping to have a conversation with her and Dr. Yakab at the next point in time because Breast Awareness Month is coming up. I think it's October, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So that's where we're definitely going to be following up and talking about the myths and the facts when it comes to, breast cancer, breast awareness, and understanding. People, please take your self-examinations, take care of yourself, have conversation with your children too as well, know your family history. These are really important things. Men understand that even though it's a 1% here, it still happens. So please take care of yourself too as well. Don't think that it will not be you because you could be in that same small percentage. So definitely reminding all of you on that. I will not see you guys until next week, Thursday, where will I be bringing the passion I don't know.
I do not know.
I don't know
We'll
what's gonna
see.
happen,
We're gonna
but
see next week.
enjoy,
Wish you a safe
Kevin.
travel. Have a great time.
Thank you, darling.
Yeah.
Be
And hope you go
living your
and you
best
hip hip
life.
hooray over there.
I want hip hip hooray and you're great.
Yeah.
Because I love how that you know it, Miss Claudia. Like, seriously.
I never
can't
know.
believe you didn't know that, baby.
I
That's
did
our
not know.
staple.
Now I know.
I love how we always introduce Kevin to things
Yeah,
of
yeah.
his life that he doesn't
That is
that
so
he
true.
doesn't know.
Yeah.
But anyways, guys, we
Thank
are
you.
up
We love
for
you,
time.
and we wish you a fantastic Wednesday. Stay tuned to the weather. There's more rain forecasted. Do your best to stay dry, and of course, make the best out of today.
Yes.
We love you. Take care.
Place to call your home, a place where you can grow. Stand by me and we'll take flight. We'll be there at morning's light. I've got you covered on all concerns we share today. You will discover how the world turns each day. When the sun comes up